Welcome to the last video before this room is finished. In this video we're going to be putting skirting boards on, putting a radiator on and doing finishing touches. So, as you can see, we've got a curtain rail on, we've got some curtains to match the room. This should be the right length for the radiator to fit underneath. We're going to go and put a windowsill on here to make this look nice. We're going to put the window surrounds on, as the plaster isn't meant to go all the way up to the window. It's meant to have a plastic covering. We're going to put the skirting boards on. And then the radiator eventually, but I don't know what I'm doing with that yet. So let's get to it. So here we are in the garage. This is a windowsill. It's massive. It was plonked on my driveway. It's like 5 meters long. I didn't realise I ordered one that big. That'll hopefully do both bedrooms. This is my skirting boards, which as you can see, that's the design. I've got some nice simple ones. They've come primed, so we just need to paint them. So here we have them. I bought 2 extra, I think they're called horses. I'm not really sure what they are. To keep it level so they don't bend, although they are white already. These are primed. You pay extra for primed. So we're going to paint them a matching white with gloss. And then chop them to size and install them. So let's get painted. Painted. Done. So, first skirting board, cut size. Fantastic. As with everything, every job you do, you find a new problem, which makes everything take longer. These skirting boards are a bit thicker than the last ones, so when I go to attach it to the wall, the spikes for the carpet are in the way. So I'm going to have to pull up all of these things in the whole room. I'm going to pull up all the underlay. Seems I'm going to be getting new carpet anyway. We'll get some new underlay. And then one problem I've got is these are held in with nails. But because of the spikes, you can't get the hammer under the nails. You can't go this way because there's a wall in the way. So we're going to try and use some of these things and try and pry them up. And we'll see how many times I stab myself in the process. The other thing we're going to be doing is where I have plastered, there's a few bits, like here, where the plaster sticks out. That one came off easy. But because of that, the skirting boards won't sit flush on the wall. So I'm going to go around with this little problem-finding piece here and chisel all those bits off, get rid of all the rubbish, take this back to floorboards and maybe fix some of the squeaky ones. So let's get to that. So here is our bucket of paint, the spiky wooden strips. And next I think I'm going to take the doorknob and lock back out of that door and paint this bit. I don't know why that's wooden when the rest of it is white, but we're going to paint that to make it match because it looks, yeah. No. Today is another day for me. Today we're going to make this fit up here. Marked out what we're going to cut. Going to go and cut that, hope it fits, glue it down. Bosh. Nice easy one for today. So, we've cut the window to size, the windowsill. Next job, putting these in. They're window surrounds. Plot them in like that. Once cut to size. And then you get a nicer finish. Because the plaster wasn't up to the window when I plastered it. There was a gap here all the way around, which is why it's cracked now. Because it's not meant to have plaster there. And that's why we put this on. This covers it up and makes it look neat. So, next. And done. Look at that. So now that the windowsill is fitted, we're going to use something called cork, where we fill in these gaps all around the edges. And finito. Look at that, there's no gaps around the edges now, it looks much neater. Much neater. And this stuff is designed to be painted over. I had tried doing that with no more nails originally, and within a day it's all gone yellow. Whereas this is meant to stay white and you can paint over it. And pound a tube. Bargain. We're going to use that to tidy up the gaps around the skirting boards as well when we get those on. Good stuff. Then we're going to work on the skirting boards. Let me show you an issue that I've got. So one of the problems I'm currently experiencing, as you can see, they've chopped this to length beautifully. But when we move it near the corner, that is now stuck, and it's not even in the corner yet because I can't get it close. So that kind of shows how unsquare your room is, even though you're standing here and it is square. But evidently not, as the room gets narrower in this corner. So I need to faff around trying to make these the right size now, which is not entertaining. One other small issue I have, as you can probably see, this is very thick. This is not. Meaning, when we put it like this, it sticks out dead far. So we're going to try and cut that so that doesn't happen. That's the plan anyway, with the tester piece. So, let's get to it. So that's my quick fix for this. Obviously we will paint this, but we've done an angled cut and then a straight cut on the end, which is roughly the width of this. So then, much nicer when it's painted. So that's a good little tester piece. Look what's arrived! So, the radiator is upstairs along with lots of other tools and things that we need to put the radiator on the wall. I thought this would be nice and easy. The radiator weighs 30 kilos! 30 kilos! Just on its own, there's not even any water in it yet. I've got to try and hold this up against the wall on my own and try and mark out the wall where to put the brackets. These things. Plus, it's only held in with 4 screws, which is a little bit sus. I'm slightly unconvinced by that, but the instructions say 4 screws is acceptable, so what do I know? They sell radiators, I don't, so we're just going to have to trust them. This radiator is also designed to be mounted vertically. However, we don't want a vertical one. I did buy it as a horizontal one, but it's sold as both. Which you'd think is exactly the same, but let me show you something the instructions say, which who knew? So, if this was mounted vertically, you have water in, water out. We're going to have water in, water out, so these will be sealed off. However, to make a vertical radiator more efficient, let me show you this side first. As you can see straight through there, but on this side, you cannot. It's blocked off. Now, apparently, that's to make sure the water's going up and down properly and heating all of the radiator makes it more efficient. So, the instructions say if you're mounting it horizontally, you have to get a big piece of metal, jam it in the radiator, whack it with a hammer and knock out that blanking valve. Apparently. Let's give that a go. And if we've done that right, yeah, it's not meant to completely come off, but it's meant to be like that. So the next thing to do, measure it up on the wall where we want it. These are the bits that we screw into the wall. And then we have these bits afterwards that hold the radiator. This bit goes on the outside. That bit goes on the inside. You screw them together like that. And then this switch will be in the wall. You place in there. do the little screw, and that should be that. And it's on. Look at that. With much struggling later, it is on. It's level, it's even in the middle, it's the right height for when the curtains are shut. Fantastic. And now, some of the skirting boards are ready to be glued into place. I need to pull up the floorboards over here, because as you can see, that won't reach. That won't reach. It's a smaller radiator than what was in, but because it's double layered, supposedly it's more efficient. Well, it costs double the price, but it saves you money on your heating, that's what they say. So we need to get that wired up, plumbed in rather than wired up. Get skirting boards on, and then we're done. We just need to pay a man to put carpet in. That's the only thing I'm probably going to be paying a man to do. So as you can see, I pulled the floorboards up to replumb the pipe. I've also pulled some of these up just to see what's going on. I have broken some floorboards whilst pulling them up, and I've discovered some very loose, wobbly floorboards in the process. So I've got some more floorboards arriving today. One thing I didn't know that I've learnt is floorboards interlock with each other, but they're surprisingly not expensive. So we've been to the plumbing shop, we've got everything to plumb the radiator in, but first we need to get the skirting boards done. There's videos all over the place, but now, skirting board time. All of them. Let's go. So, here we go, joinery time. I've got my apron on, so I look like I know what I'm doing. I've got some tools on the wall, so I definitely look like I know what I'm doing. So, as we've already showed in the video, the room isn't square, which, in a perfect world, to put your skirting boards in, you would do two 45-degree cuts, plug them together, and put that in the corner. Easy, happy days. But, because the room isn't square, you will either have it like this and have a big gap at the back, or it will sit like this and you will have a gap at the front and it will look rubbish. So, joiners all over the world have come up with something that I think is called a mitre cut, which I'm now going to show you what it is and how it works. So we've got our skirting board that we're going to put in the room. We've got our big sliding saw that can do exactly 45-degree cuts and whatnot, which is very helpful. And we're going to do a mitre cut. So let's do that. So we've just done our 45-degree cut like this. Then we're going to get our saw and we're going to chop it roughly this sort of angle, back on itself slightly, but not touching the whiteness. We're only going to chop off this wood bit. So, and ready, magic. So the theory is, once you've done your cut like this, you can put your skirting boards against it like this, and almost regardless of the angle, almost within reason, you still get it meeting up properly. So, as you can see, we're nearly in. Like with any good piece of woodwork, you always cut it slightly too long and then take it back rather than make it too short, because you can't put it back on when you take it off. These are like 2.5 meters long. This one's 3 meters long. Every time I keep trying to go up and down in the house, I keep banging it against something and then damaging them. So, we brought the saw upstairs. So we're going to trim this down slightly, get that in. We've done the mitre cut on this one, and we will just need to do one more piece in this corner. Let's go. Look at that. Right then, skirting boards are ready. This looks a little bit iffy, but once it's glued in place, look at that. And it's on. It's glued in. There's no changing it now. Well, once it dries anyway. Look at that. Oh, it looks so much better. Right, time to let it dry. Get some lunch. And then afterwards, we're going to tackle this big mess. So, now skirting boards are on. Next thing, plumbing in the radiator. Pretty easy these days. In the old days, you used to have to get a plumber to do this because they used to solder joints together to make things watertight. These days, you just use these things, which are push fit. You push the pipe in, do the screw up, watertight. Easy. So, let's do that. So, first things first, we have holes in the top of the radiator. One for a bleed valve. It's a little hole in the side. And one for a blanking plug. So we're going to wrap some plumber's tape around the thread, even though it's got an O-ring on. Pop them in, and then do the underneath bits. So, once we've wrapped it 6 or 7 times, we've still got threads there. 6 or 7 times all the way around, and that will make a watertight seal. So, the thermostat is on. This nice little pipe cover is in place. The elbow is in place. The same on this side. It's all ready. Now we just need to actually hook it up to the water. But it's 6 o'clock in the evening and you shouldn't do that in the evening because if it all goes wrong, a plumber will cost me a fortune. So we're going to leave it for today. I'm going to turn to this in the morning and then it should be done. So, in every house, there's a bleed valve on one of the radiators, normally furthest away from the boiler. I've got that going outside to the drain, and we're going to open the valve and we're going to drain the system, and hopefully it's not going to leak everywhere like it did last time. So it is, for fuck's sake. Right then, as you can see, I've test fit some new floorboards from some of the broken ones, and some of them were just tatty that I pulled up. Now we're going to pull these back up and plumb in the radiator. So these go to the radiator. This is the old pipe. We're going to chop this one and we're going to chop this one and then attach these 2 plastic pipes to the copper ones. And then fingers crossed it's not going to leak. And that's it. That easy. Apparently. We've not done this before, so apparently that's all you have to do. Now, just to make sure, so that you don't ruin the ceiling downstairs, I'm going to put some Tupperware tubs underneath these. Because, to be honest, I don't want them to leak, but a big part of me is kind of expecting them to leak. So, let's get these prepped. And then we're going to go and fill the system back up. Fingers crossed. So, we had a little bit of leakage from this one. We just hadn't pushed it together well enough. It's stopped now. In hindsight, you probably should have done these over here somewhere where they've got a little bit more space to fit comfortably, but they've stopped now anyway, so hopefully that's fine. Now we've filled the system back up, but of course it's full of air, so we're going to go around and bleed all the radiators and get the air out. Only very little bits of air in this one. I need my cloth. I can't film this, but I'm going to do that for all of them. So I've bled all of the radiators in the house, got all of the air out. Even though it's a lovely warm day now, we're going to put the heating on to get the water moving around, as that might then make more air in the radiators to be bled. I'm going to keep the floorboards up for a good week or so, just so I can keep an eye on all these fittings as they go through heat cycles and extract and compact expand and contract, they might leak then. So we're going to leave these up, keep an eye on them, but otherwise, job's a good one. Apart from that one fitting, none of the others are leaked, so push fit, easy. Plumbing, easy. So then, to finish off this video, as you see, everything's done. Floorboards are back down, we've got the little pipe covers on. Looks good. I've been out and ordered some carpet this morning, that's coming in about a week, so next video, carpet. I'm going to work out how much this has all cost me, do some before and after comparisons, and that'll be it. Until next time.